Explosive. After taking a match from a fan favorite, the tennis referee was devastated. The entire sport is in disarray because to this scandal. Welcome back to Court Vision Plus, where we expose the controversies that everyone else is afraid to discuss in addition to reporting the scores. And I need you to do something immediately before we go into today's total bombshell. Click the subscribe button. Smash it. While you're at it, be sure to subscribe to our brand new channel, providing you with mind-blowing exclusive stuff. Turn on those alerts because the tennis world will be shocked by what we're going to unveil today. We are discussing the Australian Open today. We are discussing a match that had everything. A thrilling crowd that transformed a tennis court into a football stadium, drama, passion, and a historic comeback. This is the unexpected turn of events, nevertheless. We now know that the chair umpire, who was supposed to be the impartial defender of justice, may have been the match's largest player, and not in a positive sense. Social media and insider channels are ablaze with reports that chair umpire, also known as Elite 2, is facing what some are calling a record-breaking penalty for how she handled the first-round match between American Alicia Parks and Filipino Alexandra Ella. We're discussing claims of systematic mistakes, dubious judgment decisions, and what supporters are now publicly referring to as point stealing. This kind of scandal has the potential to ruin careers and permanently alter our perception of officiating. This has nothing to do with a missed line call. This has nothing to do with a ball that was in or out. This has to do with something far more subtle. This relates to the claim that a referee interfered with a match's conclusion in a way that directly helped one player while undermining the momentum and spirit of another. We are witnessing a historic moment in tennis if these allegations are accurate and the penalty is as harsh as we've been told. At last, the untouchables are being held responsible. So fasten your seatbelts because we're going to walk you through every explosive detail of what happened on Melbourne's Court 6, why the tennis community is demanding justice and the implications for the sport's future. This is the tale of how Alexandra Ella's ambition of winning the Australian Open became a nightmare and how the tournament as a whole has come under scrutiny due to the alleged wrongdoing of one official. Let's prepare the scene. The first Grand Slam of the year and the highlight of the Asia-Pacific tennis schedule is the Australian Open. In Melbourne, it is January. The tennis is touted to be world-class, and the sun is shining. Alexandria Ella, a 20-year-old Filipino sensation, has been capturing attention and winning people over with her bold demeanor and aggressive baseline game. She is in the top 100. With a Grand Slam junior title under her belt, she represents the aspirations of a whole country that rarely gets to witness tennis triumph on this platform. Alicia Parks, an American with a tremendous serve and a game that can go from spectacular to crazy in 3 points, is her opponent. Parks is in charge. She has a reputation for being mentally fragile when things don't go her way, despite her lineage. This is a match that may go any way on paper. However, for one spectacular set on Court 6 that day, it appeared to be headed in one direction. Ella's method. Court 6 was incredibly amazing. You've missed something unique if you've never witnessed a tennis match with a crowd that sounds like it belongs at a World Cup qualifier. Ella's supporters were out in large numbers. We are talking about organized chants with Filipino flags fluttering. The kind of energy that causes your arm hair to spring up. This was not courteous golf clapping. This was unadulterated, fervent support. And Ella was using it like rocket fuel for the first hour of that match. She gave it her all when she first appeared. She has a laser-like forehand. She had flawless mobility. Parks' serve appeared to be written in neon lights as she read it. Parks, on the other hand, appeared utterly overpowered. She had the audience in her mind. She was thinking about ELO. Nothing was functioning. The initial set was completely destroyed. 0 games to 6. A bagel. Ella won more than the set. She was so dominant that you thought the match would end in less than an hour. Ella's clash in the second round was already being discussed by commentators. Fans were having a good time. There was an electrifying vibe throughout that stadium. Parks was slumped in her chair during the transition, looking forlorn. It was widely believed that this would be a straight sets beating. However, after that, something changed. This is the point at which our narrative takes a sinister turn. The atmosphere changed as the second set got underway. Parks didn't make an abrupt tactical change. Ella didn't abruptly lose her tennis skills, and the chair was the source of the change. The chair umpire, Orali Turret, began to take charge of the game in a way that instantly caused controversy. Both spectators in the stadium and those watching the broadcast started to spot a trend. Tu was there with a finger in the air and a firm warning whenever Ella's supporters exploded following a major point. The game was halted. A lecture was given to the audience. It killed the momentum. Let's be clear now. One aspect of an umpire's work is crowd control. The umpire has the right and duty to intervene if spectators are disrupting the game, if someone's phone rings during a point, or if background noise interferes with a player's ability to concentrate. However, the events on Court 6 went beyond standard crowd control. It went too far and became what many today refer to as selective enforcement. Ella's supporters were subject to harsh enforcement. Here's relevant. Points in tennis can be affected in ways that aren't visible on a straightforward scoreboard. A suspicious call regarding an impediment or distraction, a time violation here, a code violation there. These are the unseen weapons that have the power to undermine a player's self-esteem and throw off their rhythm. True made a number of procedural mistakes that unduly penalized a during crucial points in the second set, according to many reports from spectators who were courtside and analysts who have watched the film. A breakpoint scenario is one instance that has gained a lot of notoriety. Ella was on duty. Parks seemed preoccupied or distracted by the boisterous crowd. Before the point could be played, Tu stopped it, got up from her chair, and spoke to the audience for what seemed like an age. Ella's serving rhythm had entirely collapsed by the time play restarted. She made 2 mistakes. There was no more break. The set started to disappear. Then there was another pivotal game where Ella lost due to a close line call. We have Hawkeye in the present day. With the use of technology, we can determine whether a ball was in or out to within millimeters. However, such technology isn't always instantly available on some courts and in some circumstances, or the call is dependent on the umpire's assessment. In this instance, Ella shot what many onlookers thought was a clear winner that clipped the line. The line judge's call had ended. Ella searched for an override in the chair. You remained motionless. Parks won the point. Ella was clearly frustrated. Her incredulity was evident in her body language. These moments accumulate. They make compounds. They are particularly terrible for a player who is attempting to secure the greatest victory of her early career. The second set became into a struggle not only against Parks but also against her growing perception that she was losing the match. To her credit, Parks took advantage of the situation. She began to discover her serve. She began to hit her spots. The audience grew uneasy as they saw the change and were perplexed by the frequent disruptions. The mood of the celebration became tense. And Ella lost the second set 6-3, clearly shaken. The story becomes genuinely devastating when we reach the third set. Ella was no longer playing with the confidence and openness she had in the opening set. She hesitated. After each point, she was staring at the umpire's chair, perhaps anticipating the next lecture, interruption, or call that would work against her. The happiness had vanished. Parks, who had been on the edge of a humiliating loss, suddenly appeared to be the favorite after the fearlessness vanished. The audience attempted to unite in support of Ella, but their applause was now laced with desperation rather than joy. They were aware that something was off. They sensed it, and each time they spoke up, Tu was there to put an end to it. It turned into a vicious loop. The supporters' desire to stand with their hero was being used as a weapon against her. 6-2, Parks won the third set. The game was ended, from 6-love to a 3-set defeat. Sports psychology textbooks study this type of scoreline. The popular storyline that surfaced right after the game was foreseeable. Ella choked. She felt the pressure. Instead of being a benefit, the audience turned into a distraction. Parks demonstrated the mental and emotional fortitude of champions. However, a different story was emerging that was far more combustible and detrimental to the tournament's integrity. According to that story, Alexandra Ella won the match. She was deprived of it. Social media was ablaze just hours after the final point. Video clips, timestamps, and frame-by-frame analysis of Tu's decision-making were posted by some of the world's most enthusiastic and informed Filipino tennis fans. The hashtag that surfaced was clear-cut and cruel. It was referred to as match fixing. They referred to it as prejudice. They referred to it as theft. And casual fans weren't the only ones who were furious. Concerned about what they had seen, tennis analysts, retired players, and even some current players started to comment. The particular charges made against True started to take shape. First, there was the claim of uneven crowd control. Why were Parks permitted to interact with and even provoke the crowd without facing any repercussions, whereas Ella's admirers were continuously warned and disturbed? Second, there were concerns over Toure's intervention's timing. Why did Ella always seem to have momentum when the stoppages occurred? Why did they always appear to help Parks by allowing her more time to gather herself? Third, there were the line calls that were not overridden, the procedural calls themselves, and the time infractions that were threatened but never applied consistently. The general impression that True had made the deliberate or unconscious decision that the game needed to be more competitive. This brings us to the core of the dispute. Did Oral Lee Root conclude that a 6-love first set was detrimental to the competition, the broadcast, or the sport as a whole? Did she unconsciously begin making calls that would assist her get back into the match because she felt sorry for Parks, a tennis player from a prominent nation? Or worse, was there something more deliberate going on? These are the questions that have been circulating for days, and we now know that the authorities have been posing the same queries. Alexandra Ella is a symbol of something greater than herself. She is a symbol of Asian tennis's ascent. She is a symbol of the potential for a child from Manila to succeed on the world's largest stages. And it sends a message to all young players in the Philippines and beyond when she reaches that point and feels like everything is stacked against her. Maybe this sport isn't for you, it reads.